friends, my name is Aubrey. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you all here with me today. But it is actually like almost 9 o'clock at night here while I'm filming right now, and I'm very sleepy. I didn't sleep very well last night, so I apologize if I seem at all out of it. But I will have this video going up on actually the last day of February. So if you've been around my channel for a little while, you know that I actually sort the seasons by month. I know that that's not technically how the calendar, like when the calendar says that different seasons start, but I give each season 3 months that to me represent those seasons. So for example, winter would be December, January, and February, and spring would be March, April, and May. So since this video will be going up at the end of February, it is time to go over my spring TBR. So I do like to have a sort of seasonal TBR for each season where I have a list of books that to me fit that particular season really well. And the books that I will be talking about today are going to be the ones that I am like most excited to read this spring, so sometime in the next 3 months. These are, again, just those seasonal books that for some reason something about the setting or the plot reminds me of that season. This does not include any other books just from my general priority TBR that I also want to read. So I will link actually my 2025 priority TBR below if you would like to watch that, because the books on that list are also definitely options to be read in the next 3 months. In fact, most of the choices that I have today are manga or relatively like lighter, shorter reads, because I do have a number of kind of bigger fantasies and different things that I do want to get to sooner rather than later, including a number of series that I'm in the middle of that are not on my little, like, in my spring section on my TBR. So I'm trying to leave some space for that. So a lot of these are going to be either manga or, like I said, books that are not like a huge commitment, like maybe a standalone, or a nice little cozy fantasy or something like that. So we're just going to get started. We're going to go through all of the books, like I said, that I'm most excited to read this spring in particular, and then I'll have a little clip at the end of me just kind of shelving my spring books so that you can see all of the ones that are actually on my spring TBR. So we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first one that I have here today is A Sign of Affection by Sue Morishita. This is a manga, and this is volume 1. This is one that I have not yet started. I do have the first 6 volumes in this series, so it is one that I really think that I'm going to like and really want to try. But since this is the first volume and I have not yet started the series, I'll just go ahead and read the synopsis for you. Yuki is a college student who's into friends and fashion. She's also deaf. A chance meeting on a train leads to a serious crush, but can it grow into something more? Yuki, who's always been deaf, is used to communicating with sign language and her phone, but she's not used to English, so when a tourist from overseas asks for directions, she nearly panics, until a handsome stranger steps in to help. His name is Itsuomi, and it turns out he's a friend of a friend. A charismatic globetrotter, Itsuomi speaks 3 languages, but he's never had a deaf friend. The two feel drawn to each other and plan a date on a romantic winter's night, but Yuki's friend is afraid that she might be setting herself up to get hurt. Could this be something real, or will these feelings melt away with the snow? So it does sound like it starts in the winter, but I just think it sounds really cute. The covers really remind me of spring, like they're so pretty, and I've heard that this is a really wholesome, really nice romance to read, so I'm very excited to try this one. Plus, it's been on my TBR for a while, so I feel like I really need to get to it. Okay, then I do actually have the first book in a series. I don't know if any other books are out in this series so far, or how interconnected they will be, but this one just sounds really cute. It's called One Night in Heartswood by Emma Denny, and I think the series is called Barden, I believe it's called Barden. If not, I'll put the actual series name down here at the bottom of the screen. Oxford, 1360. When his sister's betrothed vanishes the night before her arranged marriage, Ralph Barden must track and return the elusive groom to restore his family's honor. William de Fauquhar, known to his friends as Pen, had no choice but to abandon his intended and his own earldom when he fled the night before his enforced marriage. But ill-equipped to survive on the run, he must trust the kindness of a stranger, Ralph, to help him escape. Unaware their fates are already entwined, an unexpected bond deepens into a far more precious relationship, one that will test all that they hold dear. And when secrets are finally revealed, both men must decide what they will risk for the one they love. So this sounds really interesting. I really like the time period that it's set in. I don't feel like we get a whole ton of books that have this particular setting, or at least not that I tend to encounter. But it also just sounds like it's going to be such a nice romance, and we do have that little bit of conflict, with someone having an arranged marriage, which I know has been, done throughout history and stuff, but I just can't even imagine. And then actually finding like true love, having run away from that, I don't know. I just think it's going to be nice, and I'm very excited to try it. And again, I don't know if any other books are out in this series so far. This may be the only one. I'll have to look into that and see if there's more. Then we have the first volume in a light novel series called The Ephemeral Scenes of Setsuna's Journey by Rokusyo and Usuasagi, and I'm so sorry if I pronounced either of those names incorrectly, and illustrated by Sime or Sime. But this is book 1, The Former 68th Hero and the Beast Folk Apprentice, and the covers, again, just really make me think of spring. It looks so pretty. And I do have the first 2 volumes of this one, so if I like it, then I'll be able to just go straight on to the next one, because they are very short. After being summoned to another world as the 68th hero in order to protect the world from monsters, Setsuna Sugimoto is abandoned because of his weak and sickly constitution and waits for his inevitable death. But when he meets Kyle, the former 23rd hero, he is given another chance at life and inherits Kyle's vast knowledge, power, and life force. Having finally gained the freedom to travel the world, Setsuna embarks on a journey as an adventurer, where he'll encounter all walks of life, meet new people, and say goodbye to others, each one bound to leave their mark on him and the world. So I really like this idea of, well, first of all, I've mentioned before, I like a good isekai, which is what we have here. Isekai or transmigration, whichever you want to call it. And I like the idea of having a character who is sick, and has something that is preventing them from living their life the way that they want, and then suddenly they find themselves freed from that and are able to actually do the things that they've wanted to do and experience the things that they've wanted to experience. I just think that's a really interesting setup for a character. Plus, it implies with the title and the cover that he's going to kind of adopt a little child, which I think is adorable. So yeah, I'm excited to try this one. Like I said, I have 2 volumes and they are really short, so hopefully I'll really like it and can just read them both together. Then I have another manga. Again, there's a lot of volume 1s and book 1s in this little stack, but with manga, the volumes tend to be so short that you can read a couple pretty quickly. And sometimes it's nice to be able to see the illustrations and that visual representation of the story and not have quite as much text to read, especially if you've been reading a lot of really dense and heavy works. I like art and I like having visuals when they're available. Although I will say it probably takes me longer to read manga than it does most people, because I am so immersed in the visuals. I'm trying to look at all of the little details and stuff, so I don't just glance at the picture, read the text, and then move on to the next panel. It takes me a little while to really appreciate the illustrations. But anyway, I do have another manga series that I would like to start, and that is Honey So Sweet by Amu Maguru. Little did Nao Kogure realize back in middle school that when she left an umbrella and a box of bandages in the rain for injured delinquent Taiga Onise, she would meet him again in high school. Now, I'm guessing it's now wants nothing to do with the gruff and frightening Taiga, but he suddenly presents her with a huge bouquet of flowers and asks her to date him, with marriage in mind. Is Taiga really so scary, or is he a sweetheart in disguise? It's so cute. Just everything about this cover makes me think of spring with like the plaid kind of lace pattern at the top, and then we have just the colors and all the little flowers on it. On the back, it's so cute. I do have the first 2 volumes of this. I don't know how many are out in English so far or if it's complete or anything like that. I just thought it sounded adorable and wanted to try it, so I got the first 2 so that I could give it a try and see what I think. Okay, and then another manga series, and another romance manga series at that. Actually, we have 2 here, back to back. Something about romance just really, if it's not Valentine's-y, it really just screams spring to me, typically. So that's when I tend to read, if I read any romantic stories, they tend to be either at Valentine's Day or in the spring. So we have a few here. But the next one is Horimiya, Hori-san and Miyamura-kun by Hiro and Daisuke Hagiwara. A sweet, awe-inspiring tale of school life begins. At school, Kyoko Hori is known for being smart, attractive, and popular. On the other hand, her classmate, the boring, gloomy Izumi Miyamura, tends to get painted as a loser fanboy. But when illiberally pierced and tattooed, not to mention downright gorgeous, Miyamura appears unexpectedly on the doorstep of secretly plain Jane homeboy Hori, or homebody Hori. These 2 similarly dissimilar teenagers discover that there are multiple sides to every story and person. So Horimiya is a staple, I feel like, in the manga community, one that I myself have not read yet. Everyone seems to love Horimiya. I have the first 2 volumes, and then I actually have the final volume that has side stories and bonus content because they had a special edition of it, and I pre-ordered it so that I would have it with the little special edition booklet that has even more extra content. But I don't have anything between volume 2 and that final volume, which I think is volume 11, maybe. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, and I can't see it right now. But anyway, like I said, Horimiya is such just a well-loved manga series, and it's just a cute little high school romance about, appearances being deceiving and not judging people by your first impression of them. And I don't know, I just think it sounds really nice, and so many people love it, and I really hope that I love it, so I really want to give it a try. Okay, then another romance manga that I have is Imakoi, Now I'm in Love by Ayuko Hata. After missing out on love because she was too shy to confess her feelings, high school student Satomi blurts out how she feels the next time she gets a crush, and it's to her impossibly handsome schoolmate Yagyu? I'm not sure how you say this. Yagyu? To her surprise, he agrees to date her. Now that Satomi's suddenly in a relationship, what next? Given how fast everything has happened, Satomi is still clueless about how dating is supposed to work. How will she forge ahead in her relationship with Yagyu? So again, Imakoi is very, very well loved. It's supposed to be, I've heard that it's really, really good. The art is really cute. You can see on the back cover. And one thing that I've heard people say that I personally think I'm really going to appreciate is that for Imakoi, it is not about the build-up to form a relationship. The relationship is formed very quickly in the first volume, and then the rest of the series is just about them growing closer and developing their relationship. And I think that that's really nice because a lot of the time what you see in romance manga, at least in my experience and things that I've heard, and you see this in anime and stuff too, and also in romance novels as well, a lot of the time what you see is the build up to the relationship, beginning to form a relationship, and you don't really get to see the actual relationship. Like, you don't really get to see them happy and in love and, you know, being in that relationship with one another. And you do an E McCoy, and I think that's really cool. I think I'm really gonna like this one. Um, Plus, the art is really pretty, at least going by the covers. And again, I have the first. I have the first 3 volumes of this one, so I really hope I like it. Everything I've heard about it tells me I'm gonna like it, so now I just need to actually read it. That's one of the things with a lot of these manga that are in this particular stack. They have been on my TBR for quite a while, and I just really want to get to them because I really feel like I'm gonna like them. I just, for some reason, haven't done so yet, so hopefully this season, this spring, will be the time. Okay, then the next one that I have is a novel that inspired a Studio Ghibli film. I love Studio Ghibli so much. And that is Kiki's Delivery Service by Eiko Kodono. Half-witch Kiki never runs from a challenge. So when her 13th birthday arrives, she's eager to follow a witch's tradition, find a new town to call home for 1 year. Brimming with confidence, Kiki flies off to the seaside village of Koriko, expecting that her powers will easily bring happiness to the townspeople. But gaining the trust of the locals and finding success is trickier than she expected. With her faithful, wisecracking black cat Gigi by her side, Kiki faces new challenges and forges new friendships, ultimately realizing that magic can be found in even the most ordinary places. I love the movie Kiki's Delivery Service, and I'm curious as to how closely the book or the movie followed the actual original story in the book, because so I've seen a number of Studio Ghibli films, but the only one that I've read the source material for so far is Howl's Moving Castle, and the movie is quite different from the book. I love both of them in different ways. But the book is very, very classic fantasy, and the movie is, I don't really know. It's like they took the basic premise and the characters, and the plot was very different. So I'm curious as to how closely Kiki's Delivery Service, the movie, followed the book. But I love Kiki's Delivery Service. It is so cozy and wholesome. The movie is really great to watch. I'll put a little picture of the movie poster image thing up here. But the movie is really great to watch in either the spring or the summer, in my personal opinion. I know that it's about a little witch, but it's the setting and the aesthetic are just perfect for spring and summer, because you have Kiki, trying to fit into this town, this little seaside town, and she's staying at a bakery in the movie, and it's just really, really nice. Highly recommend the movie. But I'll have to let you know if you haven't read the book. Oh, it's got illustrations, this edition. Is it illustrated by the author, I wonder? Let's see. No, it is illustrated by Yuta Onoda. Wow, that's very cool. But I'll let you know how closely the plot of the book and the movie are. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I love Kiki's Delivery Service, so I'm very, very excited to see the original story. Then another book that has been on my TBR for quite a while is The Little White Horse by Elizabeth Goge or Googe. I'm not quite sure how you say that, but this is a Folio Society edition that my mom got for me quite a while ago, and I haven't read it yet, and it sounds so cute. It's about a unicorn, if you can't tell. I don't think there is a synopsis on this edition for me to read. All I really remember is that it is about a unicorn, but it sounds adorable. We have a map on the end papers, then there's a different map on the back. Oh, it's so cute. And this edition is illustrated by Deborah McFarlane. You can see the title page illustration there. But yeah, it's about a unicorn. It looks really cool. Really classic fantasy, really cute. We have a manor house and a forest, and I'm really excited. I love unicorns. I've loved unicorns since I was little, and I really want to read this one that my mom was so kind to get for me. So that is that one. The next I have another light novel series, and this one I actually have the first 3 volumes of the light novel, but then I also have a few volumes of the manga adaptation, because I was actually getting I bought a few of the manga first, and then realized that the light novel also had an English translation, so then I went and got 3 volumes of this, because again, this is a story that I really, really think I'm going to love, and that is My Happy Marriage by Akumi Agitogi. Is this marriage a blessing or a curse? Born talentless to a noble family famous for their supernatural abilities, Mio Saimori is forced into an existence of servitude by her abusive stepmother. When Mio finally comes of marriageable age, When Mio finally comes of marriageable age, though, her hopes of being whisked away to a better life crumble after she discovers her fiancé's identity. Kyoka Kudo, a commander apparently so cold and cruel that his previous would-be brides all fled within 3 days of their engagements. With no home to return to, Mio resigns herself to her fate, and soon finds that her pale and beautiful husband-to-be is anything but the monster she expected. As they slowly open their hearts to each other, both realize the other may be their chance at finding true love and happiness. So I've heard this described as a sort of combination Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast retelling. And also, this is the art on the light novel cover, which is just absolutely gorgeous. It is so intricate and the colors are so beautiful. And the art on the manga, I don't think it's done by the same person. Okay, so this one is illustrated by Tsukiho Tsukioka. Are there any interior illustrations? I don't think so. I think maybe it just means the cover. But then the manga, if I can grab a volume, is adapted by Rito Kosaka, although using the character design by this artist. But you can see the manga is also quite beautiful, so I'm really excited to try this. I do want to read the light novels first, because that is the original way that the story was told, and then go back and read the manga as well. So I just think it's going to be really good. I just have heard so many people praise it, and I really like romances where the two characters genuinely are good to each other and care about each other, and I think that's what you get here, so I'm really excited for that. And then we have Sorcery of Thorns, which is the first book in the series of the same name by Margaret Rogerson. I do also have the companion sequel. I cannot remember what it's called. Something about Thorn Library or Thorn Manor or something like that. I can't remember the title off the top of my head. But I do have that one as well, so I could potentially read them both together if I like it. All sorcerers are evil. Elizabeth has known that as long as she has known anything. Raised as a foundling in one of Ostermere's great libraries, Elizabeth has grown up among the tools of sorcery, magical grimoires that whisper on the shelves and rattle beneath iron chains. If provoked, they transform into grotesque monsters of ink and leather. She hopes to become a warden, charged with protecting the kingdom from their power. Then, an act of sabotage releases the library's most dangerous grimoire. Elizabeth's desperate intervention implicates her in the crime, and she is torn from her home to face justice in the capital. With no one to turn to but her sworn enemy, the sorcerer Nathaniel Thorne, and his mysterious demonic servant, she finds herself entangled in a centuries-old conspiracy. Not only could the great libraries go up in flames, but the world along with them. As her alliance with Nathaniel grows stronger, Elizabeth starts to question everything she's been taught, about sorcerers, about the libraries she so loves, even about herself. For Elizabeth has a power she has never guessed, and a future she could never have imagined. So Sorcery of Thorns has been out for a while, and I've heard so many people love this book, and it just sounds so fun. We've got magical libraries and grimoires and sorcery. That just sounds great. And I do also believe it has romance in it, I think. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the imagery on the dust jacket with the roses and the color scheme, it just feels really good for spring. Um, I don't know. It's just a vibe I'm getting. So that is one that I want to read because, again, I have wanted to read that one for a while. I haven't had the book quite as long as some of these manga that I've had. I did get it. I can't remember if I got it secondhand or if I got it maybe from Book Outlet. I cannot remember off the top of my head. But I am really excited to read this one because, again, it's one of those that people have loved for so long and I want to know why. So that one definitely is on the list. Okay, then this next one is another manga series, another romance manga series, but it is only 2 volumes. I was going to read it last spring, but there was an issue with my volume 1 coming in. I think it was volume 1. I think I had volume 2 and volume 1 wasn't coming in. It may have been the other way around, but for some reason I'm thinking it's volume 1. But that is Springtime by the Window by Suzuyuki. Cool and collected second-year Yamada is in love with his childhood friend Seno. His classmates Akama and Toda are also starting to think about romance, though neither of them realizes yet that they might actually feel the same way about each other. High school love in the spring of adolescence blooms with earnest, messy emotions. So yeah, it's just a 2-volume series about these 2 characters and these 2 characters who are on the front cover of volume 2. And it's literally called Springtime by the Window. We have some cherry blossoms. I mean, it needs to be read in the spring. Okay, then I have a cozy fantasy that came out not very long ago, came out at the end of last year, that I am so excited to read. I've been saving it for spring, and I'm so excited for this book. And that is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong, or Leong. This is the beautiful Owlcrate edition. It's so pretty. I'm so excited for this. This book sounds like it is going to be right up my alley, going to be one of my favorites. Like, I just have a really good feeling about it. Tao is an immigrant fortune teller, traveling between villages with just her trusty mule for company. She only tells small fortunes. Whether it will hail next week, which boy the barmaid will kiss, when the cow will calve. She knows from bitter experience that big fortunes come with big consequences. Even if it's a lonely life, it's better than the one she left behind. But a small fortune unexpectedly becomes something more when a semi-reformed thief and an ex-mercenary recruit her into their desperate search for a lost child. Soon, they're joined by a baker with a need for adventure and, of course, a slightly magical cat. Tao sets down a new path with companions as big-hearted as her fortunes are small. But as she lowers her walls, the shadows of her past close in, and she'll have to decide whether to risk everything to preserve the family she never thought she could have. It sounds so good. Oh my gosh. I'm just so excited for this. We have everything. We have found family, talking cats, rescue mission, like motley crew characters. I am so genuinely excited to read this book. Then we have another manga series that I would like to start, and that is Usatoki Rhetoric by Ritsu Miyako. It is 1926, the first year of the Showa era. Urabe Kanoko has left her hometown after it turns against her for having the ability to hear lies when spoken. She collapses from hunger after arriving in a town called Tsukumoya, where she meets a poverty-stricken detective named Iwai Soma. Is this fate or something more? So, I love detective stories. I think I've mentioned this before a few times, but I do really love a good detective story, and we have in this one a character who can detect lies, which is a concept I've seen done. There was some TV show that had that, I think, or a movie. I don't know. I never watched it, but I remember seeing a trailer for it. I don't remember what it's called, but so I have seen the idea, at least, like someone else having that idea, but this sounds really interesting. And then also we have these 2 characters who are going to help each other because she's been run out of her village. She is literally starving and meets a detective who is also down on his luck. It says poverty stricken. So I think they're really going to help each other and become like a nice little dynamic duo, partners in crime. Well, partners in detection of crime. But I think it sounds really fun. I'm excited to try this one. And I have a couple volumes of this, I think 3. They're really short, so hopefully I really like it, because with stories like this, I just like to like keep going, and I really need my nice detective fix because I just finished season 2 of Ron Kamonahashi's Forbidden Deductions, which, if you have not seen this anime, it's great. I need the manga to get an English release, okay? Like, I really, really, really need it to get a physical English release so that I can read the manga, because season 2, I just finished it a couple weeks ago, and I miss it. I need more. So hopefully this will scratch that nice little, like, itch that I have for a nice fun detective pairing, solving crimes, and yeah. Okay, so now we only have 2 books left. We have a cozy fantasy and then another manga. So the first one is Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambao. Again, this is the Owlcrate edition. It's so pretty. So pretty. On a back street in Tokyo lies a pawn shop, but not everyone can find it. Most will see a cozy ramen restaurant, and only the chosen ones, those who are lost, will find a place to pawn their life choices and deepest regrets. Hana Ishikawa wakes on her first morning as the pawn shop's new owner to find it ransacked, the shop's most precious acquisition stolen, and her father missing. And then into the shop stumbles a charming stranger, quite unlike its other customers, for he offers help instead of seeking it. Together they must journey through a mystical world to find Hana's father and the stolen choice, by way of rain puddles, rides on paper cranes, the bridge between midnight and morning, and a night market in the clouds. But as they get closer to the truth, Hana must reveal a secret of her own, and risk making a choice that she will never be able to take back. It sounds so cool. I've heard this recommended for fans of Studio Ghibli, which, as I mentioned earlier, I am a big fan of Studio Ghibli, and this sounds so whimsical. I think that is the best word to describe that description. I'm so excited to read this. And lastly, like I said, we have another manga, which is Yona of the Dawn by Mizuho Kusanagi. Princess Yona lives an ideal life as the only princess of her kingdom, doted on by her father, the king, and protected by her faithful guard Hak. Hack? Let me say Hawk. She cherishes the time spent with the man she loves, Suwon. But everything changes on her 16th birthday when tragedy strikes her family. Yona reels from the shock of witnessing a loved one's murder and having to fight for her life. With Hawk's help, she flees the palace and struggles to survive while evading her enemy's forces. But where will this displaced princess go when all the paths before her are uncertain? So Yona of the Dawn is a long-running series that, again, so many people love. I have the first, I think, 3 volumes, but it is still ongoing. It is quite long, although I do think I heard someone say, I think it was this series, that it is entering into kind of its final arc. So I feel like I need to get started on it so that I can catch up. I probably won't catch up before it completes, but I at least want to know if this is something I'm committing to long term, because if you collect manga or read manga, you may also be aware they don't always stay in print, particularly after a series finishes, which is super frustrating because manga's expensive. So I feel like I want to know for sure how I feel about this. I will say it does have that very classic sort of shoujo art style. But I do think, going by the covers I've seen of later volumes, the art style does, like, we see the creator developing their art style going forward. And I do think that it improves and it gets better. Not that this is bad, I mean, this is still beautiful. But I'm just saying I do think we see improvement in at least the cover art, which is typically a sign that the creator is developing the characters, kind of coming into their style as they go. So I'm just really excited to read this. I've heard so much praise for it, and I want to know why everyone loves it. So that is the last one that is on sort of my priority spring TBR. Like I said, I have a number of other books that I am wanting to get to this year. Um, so a lot of the ones that I pick, I mean, it worked out because a lot of the books that feel springy to me tend to be kind of like either manga or I don't want to say lighter. I guess I said that earlier, but that's not really what I mean. Just like not super political or super dark or super like um really like long expansive series set in these big worlds or anything. Um so it works out that these are the kinds of books that tend to feel appropriate for spring to me personally. Um, but I do have other books that are on my spring TBR, including other volumes in some of these series. So we are going to go ahead and watch a little clip of me shelving those so you can see sort of everything that is on my spring list. All right, so again, those are all of the books on my priority spring TBR. I will link the video for my priority 2025 TBR down below so you can see some of the other books that I'm really excited to read this year, some of which may be read in the next 3 months, as well as some of these. Can I promise I'll get to all of these? No, I cannot promise that. I am a mood reader. So even though I do tend to stick pretty well to these as because I kind of know what I'm most excited to read, and my mood is influenced by the weather and by the season, so sorting some of my books that do fit those seasons does kind of, help to make it more likely that I am going to read those. Because I am more drawn to them at that particular time of year. But I am a big mood reader, and so I cannot promise that I will get to all of these. I might get to other things. I have some other books that, I have on pre order. I'm trying not to buy a lot this year, but I do have a number of things on pre order. Like, I have one that I'm really excited to start soon. It's a graphic novel that I will be showing in my February book haul next week, so you'll be able to see it then. But these are the ones that, as of right now, I am most excited to get to this spring. So, yeah. I would love to hear if you are planning on reading anything this spring, or if you have any books that you feel like really fit the season that you would like to recommend to me or to other people who watch this video. Or if me talking about any of these books or any of these series has made you excited to try them. I would love to hear your thoughts and what you have to say in the comments, or if you've read any of these and you think that I should maybe prioritize certain ones over others. Just please, as always, keep all comments spoiler free. But I genuinely love to talk to you guys, so I would love to hear what you have to say. If you would like to leave an emoji, let's do your favorite flower. I know that don't really have flowers blooming quite yet, at least not where I am. In fact, this past week we had snow. It was a really interesting experience, not the fact that we're having snow in February, because they did call for 6 more weeks of winter, but it snowed like pretty much the whole day previous, kind of stopped for a while, started snowing again that night, snowed until about 11, and then by 12, it like stopped snowing at about 11 in the morning the next day, and then by 12, all the snow had melted. It was crazy. I like looked out the window and I was like, it's all gone. It was insane. But anyway, so we don't really have a lot of flowers, but in honor of spring approaching, if you want to put an emoji with your comment, or if you don't really have anything to say but you would just like to let me know you're here, you can put some beautiful flowers down there. We'll just have a little flower garden in the comment section. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you are having a wonderful day or a wonderful night wherever you are, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye! Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Rekhyt.